Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thanking you for the many blessings that you bestow upon us each and every day. Now give us the knowledge that it will take to operate this town and look out for all the citizens. Guide and direct us in all that we say and do. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Take this time to welcome everyone. Hope everybody had a cool day.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it was a little warm outside.
Yeah. Okay, item number 5 is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, item number, excuse me, is 6 is a public hearing. At this time, I will open the floor up. If anyone would like to come forward and comment.
Mayor, if I could I have a few moments to make
You sure can.
some comments on some changes since we were last together? And if I may remind everyone, Attorney Lassiter's with us this evening, and he's asked that if we could have a quick emergency meeting after the conclusion of the public hearing. It shouldn't take long, and we have a separate agenda for that purpose.
Is that a closed session?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For the purpose of attorney-client privilege.
Thank you.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. Thank you for being with us this evening. We had our budget workshops last week, and we normally have 2 days worth, and we did this year. We had our workshops at the train depot, and at the time we were discussing our draft budget, it was unbalanced. And we spent 2 nights talking about various and sundry things, and when we left Thursday evening, I was charged with spending the weekend trying to cover what was at the time approximately about a $2.5 million to $3 million deficit. We had whittled some down, but we needed to continue that endeavor. And I did that over the weekend, and I'm pleased to say that tonight I bring you a balanced draft budget for the fiscal year 2018-19. I worked up until midnight, so the paperwork you have received is hot off the press, so to speak. I already know of one thing I left out of the budget message. I will discuss that this evening, but if you see typos or whatnot, please excuse those, because I'll make sure that they're corrected before we have the final budget message for July 1st. So again, the draft you have this evening, you've received an updated budget message, you've received new revenue sheets and expenditure sheets, all dated with today's date. So what I'm going to do is just go over quickly some of the things that I did to balance the budget over the weekend so that we're all working off the same page. Again, we are happy to present a balanced budget based off of the work that was conducted in last week's workshop and throughout the weekend. The balanced draft budget includes no tax adjustments. It does include a $2 per month per ERU stormwater fee increase, which council voted on that last week, in addition to a $4 per month per household increase in the flat rate on sewer fees. So they are the 2 increases that we talked about, and they are reflected in the budget as such. We currently include current levels of service to our citizens, and we continue to maintain a high level of benefits for our employees. As discussed last week, our health insurance premiums, we are still with Blue Cross Blue Shield, increased 7.01%, which in today's market is extremely good, and dental MetLife increased 3%. This draft budget includes the town absorbing all of the cost to both the employee and the dependent insurance premiums as well. We've been very lucky to be able to continue that trend. We include 1.5% cost of living for all employees and a 1% pot of money for merit pay, which equates to 2.5% total. The merit pot would give a 1% merit increase to employees who meet standards and a 1.5% merit increase to employees who exceed standards. This matches what we have done for the 17-18 fiscal year. The COLA begins July 1st. We've included a level of funding, that needs to be A, for non-town agencies, and in your appendix you will get sheets that reflect the changes that you all voted on last week. We've got level funding for the Shepherd Memorial Library request, and that is seen in your appendix as well once those sheets are updated. We include contributions from water, sewer, stormwater, and electric funds to the general fund to compensate for administrative services. We do that annually. And we contain departmental capital, the budget contains departmental capital requests as directed by council during our workshops last week. And we flip the page, and I'll quickly go over general fund. General fund it encompasses all of the departments that you all are aware of: town council, administration, human resources, inspections, GIS, finance, information technology, planning, non-departmental, public buildings, ground and lawn maintenance, police, fire, EMS, animal control, mosquito control, public works, and sanitation. With that said, we have estimated our revenues and expenditures in a conservative way, as we normally do. We have looked at economic trends, state and as well as national. We have taken those into consideration, and we also assume a 98% tax collection rate moving forward in our ad valorem taxes. So some of the highlights include the addition of 4 new police officer positions. One of these positions will be an unfrozen, unfunded position. So basically it's like a new position that's been frozen since fiscal year 2012-13. The addition of 1 new position of an office manager for the fire department. I think I've got words in here a couple of times, but please excuse that. This position is not a new position, but we've not funded it in quite some time. The purchase of a new aerial platform truck for the fire department. Purchase of all of the equipment needed for the new fire engine that was purchased in this current fiscal year, 17-18. Funding for a new Horizons land use plan, funding for 3 police vehicles, funding for a new tractor for public works, funding for a part-time building inspector. Again, we go over the increase for employee benefits at 7.01% for health and 3% for dental. Continued funding for the summer worker program. Non-town agency allocations in the amount of $66,485. The cash allocations include those as listed based on council's vote from last week. Moving to page 3, Shepherd Memorial Library has requested and been approved for a total of $165,300, which is level funding for the same as this current year. A general fund transfer to Parks and Recreation in the amount of $798,724 is listed here. As you'll recall, Parks and Rec it's funded by a majority of general fund monies. There's $25,000 funded for economic development efforts, $20,000 for the town's urgent repair program, and $20,000 for the town's facade program. And we do have capital requests funded as directed. The Public Works Department still has a frozen and unfunded position of equipment operator that was frozen in fiscal year 2011 and 12. That remains. The general fund is balanced, and revenues and expenditures are estimated to be $10,458,610. We do have fund balance appropriation. I think I covered that, or maybe I didn't. We have fund balance appropriation included in the amount of $1,046,154, and a transfer from electric to general fund in the amount of $375,578, which is about 6% of total electric revenues. In the general fund balance appropriation, we don't normally do that, but that includes a variety of things that are considered one and done purchases of equipment, purchases of or funding for certain plans, things of that nature. So there are no personnel and or positions funded by the fund balance appropriation. So let's see, moving to page 3, Recreation Fund. The revenues and expenditures have been estimated in a similar manner. There is a new position included for the Recreation Department. And Anthony, I'm not sure, Evan's not here this evening. He is attending a family funeral, but I believe that's a program assistant position. I couldn't remember the name off the top of my head. Okay, that's been included for this current or this upcoming fiscal year. And the total revenues and expenditures are estimated to be $982,354. Then we get into our enterprise funds. For those of you all who are not familiar with what those funds are, they're electric, water, sewer, and stormwater. These funds operate like a business and can operate and should operate at a profit, but at least they are supposed to sustain themselves. And we'll talk about the electric fund first. There's a transfer from the electric fund to the general fund in the amount of $375,578. We do that annually. The current transfer for this current fiscal year was $311,000, so you'll see that that's increased slightly, and that's done to assist in covering the cost of operations. The electric department budget includes a fund balance appropriation in the amount of $650,000 to cover territorial expansion of service capabilities along Laurelis Road and the purchase of several vehicles, including a backhoe, bucket truck, 2-meter trucks, and a service truck. All of these are necessary in an effort to meet the expanding needs of our town. So $50,000 has also been appropriated to cover the cost of installing firewalls in the electric operations building. When that building was initially constructed, it was constructed, and help me, Robert, without the installation of these firewalls per code. It predates any of us. Come on up. I don't know exactly how that happened, but now that we know that to be the case, in good conscience, we have to fix it.
We do. We need 2 more firewalls or fire barriers, roughly $25,000 each. What town manager just told you is correct. They were installed without the fire barriers, and code required it at the time. We're trying to get them in now. We were fortunate in the fact that we got to install 1 during the Public Works and Electric Department building expansion project. So we have 2 more to go.
So if we could also, I failed to mention, in the general fund, we have $100,000 included in the general fund balance appropriation for $100,000 that covers the cost of installing sprinklers for the fire department bay, and that's a similar situation.
It is. When the drawings were made for the fire department, the new fire department public safety building, that was also the same time that the new code was coming out. The new code specified sprinklers for fire, or for any type of commercial building with vehicle storage. There was some discussion as to whether the type storage was classified as an S1 or an S2, and we don't think it was correctly classified, and now we're trying to right the ship.
So that's why you'll see these unusual but necessary things included, and thank you for expanding on that. Robert's done a lot of work trying to work with Mike and make sure that we're where we need to be from a code perspective moving forward. Let's see, the electric fund, all the requests, revenues, and expenditures are estimated to be $8,030,830 for the upcoming fiscal year. In the water fund, there's still a frozen position there that remains, and that's for utility maintenance mechanic, and we have that called something a little differently currently, but that position has been frozen and unfunded for quite a while. We have $442,000 included for water purchases for resale. This amount covers what we need to buy from Greenville Utilities in order to meet our capacity use rules that has us reducing our requirement and reliance on groundwater by 75%. I believe the first 25% reduction came in, was it 2013, Travis? And then we had a second reduction, and the third 25% reduction happens in August of this year. You see this information every year, but I wanted just to make sure that we're covering why we have such a hefty purchase for resale amount. We do have some fund balance appropriation in the water fund, and I failed to include that in the budget message, but I will include, and I think it's somewhere around $97,000 if I'm not mistaken, Anthony. The fund balance appropriation for water retained earnings, that's around 97. I'm doing that off memory, which is dangerous at this point in the day, but I will include that in the final budget message. Sewer fund, let's see, water fund is balanced. Revenues and expenditures are estimated to be $1,610,796 for the upcoming fiscal year. Sewer fund, council has approved a $4 sewer rate increase. This is on the flat rate per month per household, and that will be utilized to cover additional debt service that will be coming on board as the result of the regional pump station project that we currently have underway. As you all are aware, we are a member of the Contentnia Metropolitan Sewerage District. We are one of 3 member entities. Ayden and Glifton are the other 2. Each entity has to pay their proportionate share to CMSD, as we call it, in order for them to treat our sewer, respectively. This year's appropriation for Winterville that we will pay to CMSD is $1,023,374. This is increased over last year, but reflective of our process now, which we are all charged on the basis of the flow we send to the plant. So you'll see this, as I mentioned before, a number that sort of ebbs and flows each year based on the amount of flow that we actually send to be treated at our sewerage plant. A new jack-back truck is scheduled to be purchased, and we will sell the old one. Staff has accounted for the sale of the old truck to be in an amount somewhere around $80,000. That could be a little more, a little less, but we think that's a good amount to anticipate. Sewer fund is balanced. Revenues and expenditures are estimated to be somewhere around $2,512,909 for the upcoming fiscal year. Lastly, our stormwater fund, again, a $2 stormwater rate increase per month per ERU. That's how we measure our stormwater impervious surface, has been approved and will be utilized to cover operational costs and capital projects in that fund. The stormwater fund is balanced, and departmental capital requests are approved as directed by council. Revenues and expenditures are estimated to be about $486,832 for the upcoming fiscal year. With that said, I know you're tired of hearing me talk. It is my pleasure to present this balanced budget to council for your consideration, and I will stop talking now, Mayor.
Any council member have any comments?
Terry, I just got one thing. I want to ask you about the increase for our staff, for the employees.
Yes, sir.
It can equate to 4% totally. Is that correct?
No, sir. 2.5% total.
Total.
1.5% will be cost of living for all employees.
Yes.
Takes effect July 1st. And then there's a pot of merit money that equates to 1% of total salaries, so to speak. And employees could receive 1% if they meet standards in their performance reviews, and they could receive as much as 1.5%. 1.5%, I think, if they exceed standards.
So it equates to 2% totally. That one employee, if they meet all expectations to a good standard, will be 2%.
They could get 3%. An individual could get 3%.
Okay.
But the amount of money across the board that's being requested is 2.5%. Does that make sense?
Yes, but the total amount, I'm saying the most that you can receive will be 3%.
Yes.
What you're saying.
More likely, most employees would receive 2.5%. That's going to be the average, or actually the majority of employees.
Okay. Also, does this including the new playground equipment?
Now, that was purchased in this current fiscal
This
year
current,
that we're in. Yes,
okay,
sir.
all right.
So we will be paying ourselves back for that, but we are in the process of purchasing and having that installed.
And what about the resurfacing of the basketball court?
That is not included. There were 3 things that were not included as of we discussed last week. That was the resurfacing of the basketball courts, the lighting for the walking trail at Winterville Recreation Park, and I was thinking it was $30,000 for, yes, thank you. So, thank you, Ben, that was very good. So we have not included the amount of I'm sorry, for, yes, there's a new staff member in there, and that's in the budget message. So, 30,000 that was estimated to, be the amount for planning for the multipurpose facility, the amount of money estimated for lights at the walking trail at Winterville Recreation Park, and the amount of money estimated for the resurfacing of the basketball courts were not included.
That's a total of how much?
I believe it's 30, 25, 55, I think it's around 75,000 total.
For all three projects?
Yes, sir. I was not directed to include those, so they're not included.
Can I make a motion to include that into,
You
I'd like to make a motion
You
to
certainly,
include that into our budget for this year, all three projects.
I'll second.
if I could just say that knocks my balanced budget out of balance.
Just a little bit.
So I assume that you want to take 75,000 more of general fund monies to pay for that.
Yes.
He made the motion, was there a second?
Yes, I seconded.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All opposed? It's 3 and 2. Motion carries.
So just to be
Budget
clear,
will be out of balance.
well, actually, it won't be, because as I recall, your motion included using general fund balance to pay for that, correct?
That'll be fun.
Okay. Because that's all we got.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, any other item, any other member would like to have an item they want to discuss? Hearing none, I declare the public hearing open. Anyone that would like to come forward and speak is welcome. Anyone that would like to come forward and speak? Well, I guess I can close the public hearing. I declare the public hearing closed. What's the board's pleasure?
I move for adoption.
Oh. Okay, it's just a hearing. If it's okay with council, it is scheduled to be on next Monday night's agenda for adoption, and that will give me time to make sure I've updated the budget message, including these other items, and make sure everything is as it should be, and we'll have the ordinance ready at that time.
So you're telling me I don't need a motion?
You don't need a motion.
Motion to adjourn and move into closed session. Second.
I second.
Have a motion and a second to move into the closed session.
I'm sorry, Mr. Hines, you seconded?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You gotta, you want to ask for a vote, Mayor?
That's for a vote.
All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank
But we do
you.
have the closed session, so.
I talked to you about it.
All right. Yes, Don's got it.